Hello friends, and welcome back to my crafty space. My name is Crystal, and in today's video, I am going to be putting together my last two stories using the evening story kit from Ali Edwards for StoryKitCrush. If this is a new concept to you, a new challenge to you, what StoryKitCrush is essentially a challenge to take one kit every month and to tell as many stories or use as much of that product up during the course of the month as you can. So today I am telling my last two stories, and with this I'll have enough to do one spread of Project Life, and then my kit will be completely demolished. So that feels really, really good. Today I have two stories. The first one is going to go into my 12 by 12 random story album. And this one is going to be about the bedtime routines that my husband and I have for our kids and just how we swap nights with each other and what that kind of looks like in our life right now. The second story that I'm telling is about taking pictures during the golden hour. If you don't know what that is, the golden hour is the last hour before sunset and the first hour after sunrise. So I set a timer in my phone to remember to go out during the golden hour of the evening with the family, with the kids, to take some pictures together. And this is just an opportunity to feature those photos and then to also just talk about how I'm really bad about taking photos in the evening. And it was really nice to get out and intentionally do so this week. So those are my two stories. I'm going to go ahead and put you on fast forward while I get everything here assembled, put together. I'll talk you through my process. And then once I am done, we'll slow back down, close out, and I will let you know what my kit will be for next month's StoryKitCrush challenge. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start us off today by working on the 12 by 12 spread first. This one, I printed the photo of my husband reading to my kids, and I went ahead and printed that in black and white just because I like the tone of the black and white next to all the blue and white embellishments. That photo is printed at, I believe, 7 inches wide by 12 inches tall. I do have a wide format photo printer. It's the only photo printer I have, so everything comes out of that printer, and I have been loving printing the really enlarged photos like this one. So what I have here, I wanted to create some kind of division, some kind of visual cue that would help the eye see that there is like a split in the page between where the photo is and then where all of the embellishing and the words are. So what I did is I took one of the journaling cards that is it was a 4x6, and I had chopped part of it off to do the very first project that I created with this kit. And then I had this remaining piece that I just cut into smaller pieces and then lined those up on the edge of the long edge of the photo. So once it's all on there, you can't tell that they are two separate pieces, and it just creates this nice little blue line that helps to soften the edge of the photo and then guide your eye into the right side of the spread where all of the words and everything else will be held. I am not going to add any type of embellishing to the photo. I'm just going to leave it as it is. I think it looks nice just like this and doesn't really need anything. Plus, I really didn't have anything remaining to put on there. So I'm totally okay with just leaving the photo alone. Once I clean up the edges here, we're going to flip this back over and get to work with the title and then adding the felt pieces on the sides of the journaling as well. So the title piece, I have the second piece of the blue with star transparency circle. I used half of it half of it last week on one of my spreads, one about my husband, and then this is where I'm going to use the second half of it. And I'm basically going to do the exact same thing as last time. So I stapled the portion of it at the top of the page, and then I'm adding the French version of good night, which is bonsoir, up at the top. So we're going to just stick that down, and then all that I have left to do is add these felt pieces. So when I designed this page, I knew that I wanted to use the star and then 4 of the moons to signify the phases of the moon. And I created sections of text that would align with where those pieces would go. That way, they look almost like bullet points, I suppose, but they're also just a way for your eye to clearly see the difference between the different little pieces of text. And then what I did for my story on this one was just to talk about our typical evening routine of actually putting the kids to bed. So I've done a couple of different routine evening spreads, one about what do my husband and I do after the kids are in bed, one about, what is specifically the routine that I have with Izzy, so what is her going to bed routine when it comes to bedtime with mom, and then this one is a more general, how do we handle putting the kids to bed at night? How do we trade things off? What are the types of things that the kids do every night? That sort of thing. So it was just a way to capture like a more broad version of what does bedtime look like for the kids. So I just used some double-sided adhesive on the back side of those felt pieces, and then I am sticking them down directly onto the textured white cardstock. And then once I have those done, I'm just going to grab over my ruler date stamp, go ahead and date stamp this, and then this spread will be done and we can move on to the second one. I really, really love the way that one turned out. There's just something really satisfying about straight lines and white space, at least for me. Okay, so this is going to be my last project with this kit. For this one, I was inspired by the card that says Golden Hour Goodness, and it got me thinking, really this whole kit got me thinking about taking pictures in the evening and at night. And so when I went into all of my photos to try and pull some photos out from those periods of time, I really don't have a lot. And that was a little bit of an eye-opener for me of I'm not really documenting what's happening past, let's say, dinner time. So I made it a point to set a timer for the golden hour of a random night, which is an hour before sunset. So I looked up what time is sunset tonight, and then I set an alarm for an hour before that. And it was also a really warm and sunny day, so it just made a lot of sense to use that particular day as a photo day outside. And so I, when the alarm went off, I got the kids and we went outside. I think my husband was working or something, so he couldn't join us. And we all went out and just took a bunch of pictures in the, golden light of sunset, and they actually turned out really good. So I picked 6 of them that I printed in a 2x2 sizing, and then I printed one additional photo of my son overlooking the pond in our backyard, and I printed that one at the full page size, which is 6.875 by 8.25. On that large photo, I decided that I wanted to cut out a piece of transparent material, so just plastic, clear plastic. And I made it roughly 4 inches wide by 3.5 inches tall. And then what I did is I stitched that into the bottom right corner of my photo so I could slip that Golden Hour Goodness card right into it. On the back side of that card is where the majority of my journaling for this spread is done. Then to create a tab to help me pull this out, I used the chipboard piece here. It's a half circle, and it says something like, all the love for sunset or something like that. And I stuck it at the top of the card. I just peeled off a little bit of the backing and tried to cut off some strips so that I could stick it onto the back of the card but not reveal the stickiness of the entire thing. And then I will bring over my tiny attacher and I'll go ahead and staple it there just so it stays permanently secured on that card. And the nice thing about that is now I don't have to worry about the sticky part on the back side getting onto the photo and all that kind of stuff. The backing will just stay on for the rest of it. So then we can stick this down inside of that pocket, and that is going to be what the right side looks like. I love the way that turned out with the clear pocket on there, because when you take the journaling card out of the photo, you still get the full scope of the scenery and everything to do with that photo. So if you are looking for a way to add some extra journaling or some cards onto a photo enlargement, consider using plastic so that when you pull your stuff out, you can still see the entire photo. Now for the left side of this, I'm going to use a 2x2 pocket page, and I've got a couple of different photos. So I have a few of me and Jonah, And then I've got one of Izzy and I, and then two of Izzy by herself. So I decided to put the pictures where I'm with the kids on the outer edge, and then the ones that were just Izzy in the middle. And then what I'm doing is I'm taking the remaining bits and pieces that I have from the cards that I've been cutting apart all along this month, and I'm just chopping those down into 2x2 squares. So I have enough to do two of the like midnight color with the stars on top. I have enough to do, I could have done three, but I like the idea of working in pairs of two. So I have two of the evening pattern, and then I had a piece of that star transparency left. So I took a piece of that and cut that down into two 2x2s as well. Then I have two remaining stickers here, one that says sunset and one that says golden hour. So I'm just going to stick those in the direct middle of the transparency squares, which you'll be able to see the stars a little bit better once they're actually in the pocket, because they'll have a white backing from whatever was on the previous day's story. And then I also printed two additional boxes of text, and I believe I printed the boxes at 1.75 by 1.75 and then added that text box onto a 2x2. So then once I cut it down into the 2x2, I can slightly trim off the edges and have it fit on a 2x2 square. That'll make a little bit more sense here in just a minute. Now, I did want to go ahead and get everything arranged. It was a little tricky to figure out how I wanted to arrange everything. So ultimately what I end up doing is adding the two boxes with my text in the middle column, and then having the outside columns each have a transparent square and one of the star squares. And I think that looks pretty balanced to me, where I'm okay with, I like how it looks. So here is where I'm talking about just trimming off a tiny little bit off of all four edges on this vellum printed journaling. I like to print text on vellum often. One of the things I will say is that you do have to wait a little bit for it to dry, because it's not as porous. The ink will sit on top of the paper. So you just got to let it dry, and then it should be just fine. So all I'm doing is trimming those off, and then when I add them into the middle of the evening square, I'm taking my tiny attacher in order to just attach those two pieces together and then calling that good. So I'll go ahead and clear this stuff off and bring over a 2x2 page so you can see how everything looks together. So we've got the full page photo there, which I absolutely love that photo. I love that he's actually looking away from me and at the pond. I think it's really pretty cool. I have two stories in the album I'm working in that have 2x2s where I need something to go on the back. And that first one wasn't going to work because at the top it was blue across, and I didn't want the transparent piece to be backed in blue. So this one works perfectly well because I've got enough squares that have white on them that I can add those transparent pieces into those specific pockets. And then you have no idea that there's actually stamping on some of the back pieces here. All right, friends, that finishes my last two spreads for today. So I've got this 12 by 12 spread that will go into my extra large story album. And I really, really loved using these felt pieces as almost like bullet points for my journaling, or just markers for the different sections. I think that turned out really cool, and you get to see the phases of the moon, and I think that's super cool as well. And then for this other story, I have everything outside of the pockets for now. I actually really love the way that this one looks. I am so thankful that this kit had this particular card right here, because I don't go outside and take pictures in the evening, and I loved having the intention to do that this week. So I'm super thankful for it, and I love all the pictures that came out of it. I just think it was a really, really great activity for us and for me personally. I hope that you have enjoyed seeing these spreads come together today. If you have, I would love a thumbs up down below, and make sure you hit the subscribe button as well if you haven't already, so you can see all of the projects I have coming your way. So today is the last of the evening story kit. This kit is officially crushed. I believe I still have some left for a for a Project Life spread that will come, if it hasn't already, then in the near future. But even though I still have those supplies set aside, I am calling this kit Crushed. So next month, I am super excited to dive into the Strong Story Kit from Allie Edwards. This is the kit that was released in May of 2021. I have already done my project planning and a process video, and I have already shown all of my projects that are coming out of the Strong Story Kit in my Patreon. So if you would like to have early access to that material, in addition to all kinds of other process videos and planning videos and tutorials and all that good kind of stuff, then definitely make sure to check out the link in my bio that will take you to my Patreon website where you can see what all is included in the various tiers of membership there. All right, friends, so that is going to be it for now. Although I have already done all of the Strong stuff, all of that Strong Story Kit content will be coming to YouTube on Fridays next month. So I am looking forward to finally being able to share those projects with you. Okay, that is all I have for you for today. So until next time, I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope you enjoy the weekend ahead, and I will catch you all in the next video. Bye, friends.